Wow, that is quite an introduction. Yeah. A testimony is merely just a time to share what God is doing in our lives. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like I go through these seasons where I feel like nothing's really happening. And when Alex mentioned to us that we needed to choose a week, my first inclination was choose one way in the future, because I just didn't really feel like I had much to share. But then when I thought about it, I realized that God kind of gives us these glimpses of his working in our lives, when we, outside of us. And so he just gives us these little reminders, and as if to say, I'm in control here. It's not about what you're doing, whether you recognize it or not, or whether you're seeking it out or not, I'm working. And so the more I thought about it and thought about when I should sign up to share, I realized God is doing things in my life. Even in these last few kind of busy weeks, I've seen glimpses of God's hand in my life. So I just wanted to share that with you. Okay, so some background to the story. I have my notes here. I've been taking a Chinese class for over 10 years now, and I don't like to say that too often because my Chinese should be much, much better than it is. It's a weekly class, but I don't go every week, and it's just 2 hours, and I don't really study very much outside of class, so it's a pretty casual one-on-one kind of atmosphere. But anyway, that's not the point of the story, not my Chinese ability, but I want to share with you about my Chinese teacher, because she's kind of showing me, I think God is kind of prompting in our relationship. So I've had the same teacher the whole time, for over 10 years. So we've developed a pretty good relationship. I often refer to her as my Taiwanese mom, because she tells me things like I'm not wearing enough layers of clothing, or that I need to drink more warm water because that's healthier or something than cold water. I'm not sure, but she's kind of momish to me, and but she's a really sweet woman, and we spend the first part of class, sometimes 20 minutes, just talking and catching up on life and how our week's been and just what's been going on since we've last met. And I've realized that I've kind of taken maybe that time a little bit for granted, or haven't really taken advantage of that time with her. Even though we talk a lot, even though she knows I'm a Christian, that I teach at a Christian school, that I go to church, we've never really talked deeply about what Christianity is. So the second part of the story, which might not seem very related to the first part, but it'll come together, I promise. The second part of the story is that I serve on the board of an organization called Taiwan Sunshine that was started by Uva and Madonna Maurer. Some of you might know Uva. He sometimes speaks here, and a few years ago he led a Pearl retreat. But he used to be the principal of my school, and he started this organization called Taiwan Sunshine for families who have children with special needs. And so I was there at the beginning of the founding, and so it just sort of happened that I became involved. I kind of got onto the board by accident, sort of, but I support what they're doing, and I try to do what I can. So sometimes we have meetings, Taiwan Sunshine meetings, before I go to Chinese class. And so sometimes I show up to Chinese class a little bit late. And because my teacher and we chat a lot, I was telling her about Taiwan Sunshine, and she was really interested, like asking why it exists. And I found myself, telling her about Uva's story and why the organization was started. And she was really genuinely intrigued and asked for brochures that she knew of people off the top of her head that she could share the information with. Maybe they would want to support, or maybe they might want to use the services of Taiwan Sunshine. But the coolest part of that was that she even started financially supporting Taiwan Sunshine, in that the money that she made from teaching me Chinese, she gives back to she gives back to me to give to Taiwan Sunshine, if that makes sense. So, I was pretty shocked and humbled by that when she told me, I want to support what Taiwan Sunshine is doing, and can you make sure, that this money gets to them? She didn't want credit or a receipt or anything. She just wanted to support them. So I thought that's pretty cool, but also I felt kind of just humbled because I don't even support Taiwan Sunshine financially, regularly. And so when it kind of all happened at the same time, when Alex gave us this challenge to find a good use for this money, I thought, well, I'm going to start with that and then add monthly to her donation to give back to this organization which I support, which is all well and good, supporting organizations like this is a good thing. But even if I was a non-Christian, I might choose to financially support something like this. So I want to go on to share an even more exciting part of this testimony, which is that just a few weeks ago, before Chinese New Year, so I guess a week or 2 weeks ago, at the end of class, just out of the blue, my teacher asked me if at our church we read the Old Bible or the New Bible. And I was a little confused, but I quickly realized she was talking about the Old Testament or the New Testament. And so I told her that, we read both, but that we're studying the New Testament right now. And she, her face just lit up, and she pulled out these Bibles. I think they're Gideon Bibles, but they're in Chinese, and it's just the New Testament. And she said, I found these Bibles, and I want to give you one. Do you have a Chinese Bible? And I said, no, actually I don't. And then she, whispered, not sure why she whispered, but she just said, maybe we can read it together in class sometime. So, again, I was, really pretty shocked and humbled, because I just feel like it's a little bit backward. Probably I'm supposed to be the one to be, spreading the gospel, to be, suggesting that we read the Bible together. And here my teacher is, who's not a Christian, but showing some interest, I found these Bibles, and, maybe we can read it together. And so this is just what I was talking about, at the beginning, how God gives us these glimpses of his working, just literally, just giving us opportunities out of the blue. I didn't really feel like I was trying to evangelize or trying to find an opportunity, or it didn't really seem like that came up a lot in class, but she just suggested this. And I think it just shows that God works, outside of us and despite of us sometimes. When we're preoccupied with other things, or, not really maybe trying to find opportunities ourselves per se, he still works and he still uses us. So whether we have, money to give to something, or some experience or skill or some resource, God can and will use it. So I hope that we can just be ready to identify and, just take the steps that God places out before us. So thanks for letting me share.